Okay, guys, we're going to go and get started. How many of you guys have ever had a perfect lesson laid out and then the technology didn't work? We're in the middle of that right now, and pray for the guy in the back to help us figure it out. I'm sure he will. So instead, we're going to drop back and punt like we always do. And so we've got an activity that we're going to do at the end, but we're going to do that at the beginning, and it's called the Marshmallow Challenge. How many of you guys have done this before? Several. And how many of you guys have seen the TED Talk about this one? Okay, so if you research the TED Talk, it talks about the study that went in behind the Marshmallow Challenge and how they gave that to kindergarten students, to CEOs, to engineers, to directors, and you can probably guess out of like a meta-analysis who did the best on the Marshmallow Challenge. Who do you think? Kindergarten, right? And so this is the first thing that we actually did. When I came to Northview Primary STEM School, it was a Northview Primary School back then, and our first in-service was actually the Marshmallow Challenge. And in it, we talked about divergent thinking and how over the course of time, our divergent thinking, creative thinking actually goes down. And so anyway, at this time, we're going to go ahead and dive into the Marshmallow Challenge. We have, how many do we have set up here? Okay.
Spaghetti and then 20 marshmallows. And your goal is to build the highest tower out of those materials.
So we're challenging you now. If you're sitting towards the back, come towards the front, teammate with somebody that you don't know, and start building. We're going to have to self-select. Okay, so
You can do whatever you want to with it.
Mr. Slade, thank you for volunteering. Everybody give Mr. Slade a round of applause for his volunteering. Have you got a timer started?
I looked.
They're on their phones, people. Come on.
So we're going to have 20 minutes to do the rest of that PowerPoint.
We have 20 minutes now.
Like once this is finished, we'll have 20 minutes to do what's on. Yes, the tallest tower.
One marshmallow. They do a pre-conference and a post-conference.
I have to have the file.
She can't email it to you.
No, I don't have internet. And see, the problem is everybody's using Google, and I have to access, and they've saved all of the files on Google. I can't download anything if I don't have anything. I can't play videos if I don't have internet. And videos aren't saved on the device. They're on the cloud. And the last lady, she's like, well, just download it. But I can't because you're not a premium member. Green is forward. Red is back.
That's fine. We only had a couple of videos. Thank you.
It's stuck to the table.
No videos though. Because the videos are in the drive in Google
Okay.
and
But
they
the
don't.
pictures are in there.
The pictures are in.
Okay, cool.
You've probably done it a few times. did, but not many. I wanted to.
That's how you change it.
Yep. And this is you first, so.
Okay. Just press the button.
Sure. Hey.
Just one thing I forgot to tell you. Just remember that we're streaming.
Okay, thank you. If somebody asks a question while we're presenting, just take the microphone so they can hear it live stream.
Okay.
Are you nervous about that? Yeah.
Nothing, it just has to freeze. Yeah, it's a more minute.
One more minute. One more minute.
Nope.
Well, I think it's dead. Oh, it's not dead.
This one is not dead.
You think I need one?
For the live stream. I'll tell them this one don't work.
Okay. It may not just be turned on. It may just not be turned in. About 45 seconds.
Check 2. Check 1, 2. Check.
And time. If we can put our hands on the table, please. And if you're standing, please sit so everyone can observe the towers that you just built. Okay, here we go. This one,
That one.
that one. Yeah. Okay, we're good? All right, great job, guys. Give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. And those in the audience, thank you for staying in the room. I know that could have been a great opportunity for you to exit stage left. So thank you all for hanging in there. And so we wanted to have this kind of as an end activity, but that's okay to start off with the beginning. Did a great job. How many of you guys got to the point where you're kind of like, I wonder if I should ask a question. Can I break this, or can I have more of this? Anybody of you guys have that experience? Hey, yeah. And so a lot of times whenever we've kind of trained our minds to be that way, whereas with kindergarten students and some of our most creative people on the planet, they don't think like that. They have wide open spaces within their mind. And so those parameters are given to them by us sometimes. And so it's important for us to be able to create that. And that's why we're all here for STEM, to take the abstract concepts and make them tangible and concrete for our students. So, all right. So brick by brick is we're talking about building a STEM culture. How many of you guys are principals in the room? Okay, great. How many of you guys are teachers in the room? Wonderful. Okay, my name's Hans Ballew. I get to be, it's a great honor and privilege to be the principal of Northview Primary STEM School. And this is Miss Cassie Cate, and she's a kindergarten teacher. And she's about to become, for our first time ever, a STEM teacher. First time our county's ever had one. Can you give her a round of applause? That's amazing stuff. We got to divert Title I funds. We had one rare opportunity, and so we jumped on it as soon as we could. So we're really excited about it. All right, so 4 years ago, I went to Northview Primary School, and so we kind of started at the beginning. I had a lot of teachers asking, what is STEM? How many of you guys have some teachers in your building that's still asking, what is STEM? Right? And then, of course, by now, we're 4 years into we've got a STEM school designation. Almost every person in the building is part of some part of the STEM team, whether that be a literacy part of the STEM team or just something. And so our STEM culture is pretty good. We're by no means perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we are kind of moving in the right direction. And so that's why we get to kind of let you in on it. So 3 things that we did whenever I went to Northview Primary School to become Northview Primary STEM School was there's 3 foundations that I stole off of a guy by the name of Glenn Bogart. He was at Pi Beta Phi in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and he was a great coach and mentor. He said to expose, equip, and then empower. If you go to the next one. So when you're starting at the very base level, and I'm sure some of you guys are in the room, you've started an initiative before that didn't really take off. And so these 3 principles really helped us take off and get everybody kind of involved. So one is to expose. One of the things that we looked at was what has the greatest return on investment for us to get everybody to buy in. And so one of the biggest ROIs that we found for exposure was school visits. One of the ones that we went to, the very first one that we went to was Prescott South in Cookeville, Tennessee. Dr. Jones is sitting right here. And so if you don't, can you wave at everybody? Thank you very much. This is Dr. Jones. And so she is the guru of STEM in Tennessee. She won't tell you that, but I would gladly tell you that. If you have a chance to go to her school, please do. It is amazing. So we went to her school, and we saw the Taj Mahal of STEM schools, right? And this is where we caught the vision. We caught the dream. This is what we could be, right? And I think Miss Stacy Whaley in the back, I think she went with us that time. Also, we said, hey, let's find a school that's more like us, because our school, like most baby boomer schools, were built in 1951. We still have busted pipes, right? We have pieces of concrete that are missing, and so we wanted to see a school that wasn't a brand new built school, that had kids that looked like us, that had teachers that looked like us, so then we could not only see the dream and the vision, but then also realization, right? Realize it and say, oh, well, we could do that, right? And so one thing that we really got a lot of feedback on was school visits, going to visit the schools, which TSIN does a great job of having us come out and visit some schools. Some of you guys have visited our school, and thank you for doing that. The next one is partner with a STEM Hub. I'm sure you guys have already partnered with those guys. We started day one when a lot of our teachers didn't really even know what STEM was, so we invited UT and the East Tennessee STEM Hub to come out to do some just basic What is the design process? How does it work? What is STEM? Nothing high level, just low level stuff to do with our in-services and our PDs. And we started from there, and then we built up. We partnered with TSIN, and I'm sure everybody knows Becky Ash. She came out, and she sat in, not only did PD with our whole staff, but then she sat down with this STEM team and started coaching them on what we need to do next. So if you haven't done that, that's going to be integral. On top of that is that you get to meet some really awesome people, and that becomes part of your network. And anytime you need a think partner like Dr. Jones, she's also part of our STEM Advisory Council. And so every month I get to pick her brain a little bit on, hey, where should we go with this? Or have you seen anybody do this before, et cetera. Send your people to trainings as well. That first year, we just started sending them anywhere. We didn't even know if it was any good. We were just sending them to anything with STEM on it. Hey, let's get all of it together, and then let's pick up, what do we find is valuable. And then next is going to be, I say, find your Caleb and your Joshua. Are you guys familiar with that story in the Bible? Right? So you send out 12, right? And then you got 10 that say, those giants are too big. We look like grasshoppers. There's no way we could do that. We don't have the kind of school they do. We don't have the kind of teachers that they do. We don't have the technology that they do or the funding that they do. There's no way we could take the promised land, right? When you find your Caleb and Joshua, though, that's when you're going to be able to really do it. And it's not always going to be your most experienced teacher. It's not always going to be your veteran teachers. Cassie, I think, was 4 or 5 years in, brand new teacher. Andrea, who was the first person on our STEM team, she was a 5-year teacher. And those are the guys that became our Caleb and Joshua saying, yeah, I think we can do that. And so those are the guys you really need to look for because those are the guys that's going to drive it for your school. Next up is to equip. Put your money where your mouth is. If you really want a STEM school, that's going to take some funds. And so buy stuff for your STEM leader teachers to play with to show others. The best way for other teachers in your building who probably aren't going to go to the trainings to really start doing it in their classroom is to see it happen within another person's classroom. This will automatically alienate part of your staff if your teachers are buying things, and so some of them just aren't going to spend the extra money to do so. So put your money where your mouth is. There's so many grants out there. There's so many community partners out there. We're a Title I school, 70% economically disadvantaged, and we find money to do some amazing things. Also, fundraise. If there's something that they want, let them fundraise to do it. So there were some things that Cassie, Cate, and Andrea were wanting to do, and I said, great, how are we going to pay for that? And they said, let's teach the kids how to raise crops, and then we'll sell the crops, cougar crops, right? And that brought in like $1,500. Another one is they just got a bunny and got a backdrop and put some pictures up there. We made $1,200 on bunny pictures. So there's so many things that you can do if you allow them to do it, right? Say yes, but we've got to have the money to do that. How are we going to do it? All right, next up. And then empower. Like I said, it's the power of yes, but also yes, but. Yes, we can do that, but we can't have live goats in the building, right? Like, yes, we can do that, but we're going to have to find a way to fundraise for that one. And then also ownership. Allow them to own it, and then trust them to run with it. That's a big deal because if they're always having to check with you to see if they can do something or to get the yes or to get your buy-in, it's going to slow them down quite a bit. And so the next idea may not ever happen because you didn't allow them trust and ownership. Sometimes you empower by not leading the meeting. When Becky Ash came into our school to talk to our lead teachers, I purposefully was not in that meeting because I wanted Becky not to talk to me. I wanted Becky to talk to my teachers. And so then it was a closed group of 4 to 5 teachers with Becky, and they were Becky was feeding into them and empowering them. And then also, sometimes you lead and empower by being in the meeting. Because sometimes there's going to be some of those teachers that are in the room that may have a disposition towards negativity. And it's good for you to be in that meeting so that you can make sure that it all goes well, right? And so sometimes it's good not to be in the meeting. Sometimes it's great to be in the meeting as well. The next one. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a way to go back? I didn't get that part. So find the one thing for each person to do, and this is huge because if you just highlight the people that are doing, then the other people aren't going to find value. Every person in your building has value. They all feed into the team. Your job as a principal is to figure out what that is and how they can feed into it. Some of them will never get up and present, but they are great grant writers like Kim Kirby, right? Some of them will never get up and lead an in-service of any kind, but they can make the flyer for the event, and it looks super awesome, right? So find the one thing that each person can do and then have them feed into it, and that is going to feed everybody into the STEM culture within your school. And then step back. Once you have exposed them, you've equipped them and empowered them, now you can engage the team. Remember to step back, watch the magic happen. There's a funny story really quickly. We had 2 teachers in our building. They are not tech savvy at all, like zero. They do a garden outside, and so I thought that was cool. So UT sends me an email with no explanation. It said, hey, would you guys like to do the Hummingbird Project? Does anybody know what the Hummingbird Project is? Okay, so I didn't either. I thought, yeah, man, these guys love outdoors. They're going to build birdhouses or something. That'll be cool. No, they build the hardware and the software for a computer system. And they come back and they said, Hans, do you know what you sent us to? I was like, y'all building birdhouses, right? It's going to be cool. They said, no, not at all. And now they're teaching the class at UT. How cool is that, right? So also the mentorship program that we saw. So one of the things that also was magic that just happened, Cassie and Andrea came in and said, hey, we want to show the teachers like how this works in their classroom. And I said, well, how are we going to do that? Because we don't have an in-service till February. And they said, we're going to give up our planning time. And we're going to go into their classrooms. And we're going to teach their kids. And we're going to use their content. A kindergarten teacher teaching 3rd grade math to kids that she's not taught before. And they did that. The magic happened the next year. First of all of our teachers saw it. They saw the engagement. And whoever was like maybe putting up a wall against them, now they're like, I just saw my kids super engaged, and they're never like that with me. Now I want to do that stuff too. But then they took it to the next level. And Cassie and Andrea come to me and they say, hey, what if we did it at the school behind us too? So now we've got 1st grade teachers that are going into 6th grade math classes and teaching God knows what with STEM, right? It's pretty amazing. When you step back and let them lead and take ownership, you're really going to see the magic happen. And that's when we really went from a STEM team to a STEM school. Now, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's taken us 4 years. But we went from what is STEM, like almost everybody in the building, to now almost every person in the school is part of the STEM team. So, all right. School culture is all about people. We had great social capital when I got there. I didn't add anybody. I bet you do too, right? We already were doing STEM. I went from room to room, and I was like, they might not know what STEM is, but they're doing it in their classroom already. I bet you do too. And find your Caleb and Joshua. Really quickly, the paradigm shift that happened at our school when it really took it to the next level was that COVID hit, and I'm sure all of you guys were faced with things that you didn't want to do, you didn't think it happened, was impossible. And they came to me and they said, hey, we just lost the STEM school designation last year. We didn't get it. What do you want to do this year? And I said, guys, I don't know I can put any more on my teachers. We're about to do some things that are just impossible to do. And then to add STEM on top of it, that's crazy. And they said, that's okay, we'll do it. So then they took it on. That's when it stopped being Hans's idea, and now it became teacher-led idea, and that's when magic really started to happen. And that's where we go to Cassie. Oh, well, maybe not.
Yeah, you have 2 more slides.
Okay. So she also decided, hey, let's do a STEM book study one summer. And so we all got together, and then in this book, really great ideas. Everybody's imagination was just blowing up. One of the things in it was a space simulator. And we said, hey, man, that'd be cool to do, except for we would change this, and we make it accessible to multiple kids instead of just one. We'd add state-level content to it. We do this, we do that, we do that. And then, well, that's just a dream that we read about on the beach, and then we came back to reality, right? Well, 3 days later, this is how God works. 3 days later, the guy who builds WonderWorks exhibits, like if you've been to Pigeon Forge before, yeah, so he's talking to me, and he's like, yeah, so I did this exhibit, and then he showed it to me. It was for Behind the Lens or something like that. And I said, well, wait a minute, you just did like the vinyl for that, right? And he goes, no, we built the entire thing. I said, okay, forget about the windows. Come in here for a minute. So for the next 3 hours, we just spit-wadded ideas, and this is what we came up with, was a space simulator in one of our classrooms that we built. And so these 2 are iPad Pros, where they can build rockets, test them, redesign them, all that kind of stuff. And these are 5 and 6-year-olds too. The buttons on the side are really cool because they go to a grade level. So the red button's kindergarten, and then Cassie has her kindergarten students, make a video about the grade level content that we're doing in the classroom, and then connect it. So you push a button, and you'll see our videos aren't working. But if they push the button, you'll see kids delivering state-level content and actually teaching 5 and 6-year-olds. It's crazy. And then in the middle, this is a touchscreen computer here, and you can see one of the things. So each grade level has one of these. This is kindergarten. And so they go 1, 2, 3 through the lesson. It's all tied to state-level content, et cetera.
I'll have to look it up. But I'll
Yeah, we're on our next book now, and so yeah, poor memories. Okay, so anyway, we built a space simulator within our classroom. I'll try to hurry this up a little bit more. And then the next step was to, which is not showing, okay, but we have a rocket also that's just like the other one, and it has like a blast off. It sounds off, and so when they make a 100, they get to blast off the rocket and all kinds of stuff. We'll be building a career center in there as well that's going to change. Like the shroud of it will be a different career. We also got the college dorm mirrors that we're going to paint, have QR codes on them, so we can do career fairs and stuff like that with the students. I think that's it. Okay.
Well, that's what it looks like, but we had a video that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we incorporate STEM into our school from a teacher aspect? So we have our STEM room that our students go to for 45 minutes a week, and that's teacher like their choice. So the teacher can choose to go to their time, or they don't have to go to their time. While they're in the STEM room, there's 6 different stations. We have a robot station. We have the space simulator that you just saw. We have a craft station that's correlated with space. So like right now they're making all the planets and they're putting them in order. We have a Lego station where they're building different space-related items. They're coding by Legos right now. Do you remember the other one? Yes, we have a reading and math where they're using their Chromebooks, and that's by grade level. So whatever their teacher has them to do, it goes with what they're doing in the classroom. And then while you're doing school-wide PBLs, we have 2 a year. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. And then we try to highlight our STEM teachers and just spotlight different STEM work that we see going on throughout our school, and we post that on our social media page. We have monthly STEM challenges that we do, and this is something that we really did during COVID because we wanted our students to still participate in STEM projects, but we didn't have, we couldn't share materials in our classrooms. So we thought, how can we still do STEM, but with not being able to share things? So we create a monthly STEM challenges, and what we do is we have a flyer, and it's in here, so you'll get to see an example. But we send that home, and then the kids bring it in at the end of the month, and we bring in judges to judge those. And that's like nothing is being done for that at school, and we have a huge turnout for that. And then Dr. Bully talked about the mentorship program that we do, and that's happening at our school, and then the sister school right next door, the intermediate school. And then we have a STEM night.
So like the monthly challenges, so like they built roller coasters one time, we had Ballew would come in and actually judge them and give like corners along with the rubrics.
So this is just to highlight some of the school-wide PBLs that we've done this year. Kindergarten did careers in space, and then we've done rockets and space stations and seasons and moon phases and all of that. So why we wanted to do our mentorship program was we had all this technology, but our teachers didn't know how to use it. We had gotten a $5,000 grant, so we bought robots for all of our teachers, but they didn't know how to use that. So we took those into the classrooms, and now all of our teachers are using them, and they are actually going into classrooms and mentoring other teachers. So this is just an example of one that I did in a first grade classroom. They were retelling a story. So they had different like picture cards that went along with the story that they read, and then they programmed the robot to go like first, second, third, throughout the story. And we did it by actually touching the robot, and then we used the iPads to do it as well.
Can I interrupt real quick? So one more thing I wanted to brag on, Cassie. STEM for all. That's open access to all students. We have a CDC room. I'm sure you have one too. Mostly nonverbal students. And so she went to a CDC classroom, and I got to visit the lesson. And the students who were nonverbal couldn't tell you anything. They coded it with these boxes that was on there, how to get to the word blue or yellow. And so they were cognitively active and open access to educational content through the STEM that she brought into that classroom, which I'm sure she has not taught any lessons in CDC before, but it took a lot of bravery to do that, and she rocked it. Sorry.
Okay, and this is one that Andrea did in a second grade classroom, and the students made a story map, and they made like a little costume for their Ozobot, and then they mapped their story. So this was a video of just one of our teachers who had went through our mentorship program, and she was just sharing like what it meant to her. We can send out this PowerPoint though, so you all can see our videos. So we did extend our mentorship program this year, and we had teachers who like didn't lead our mentorship program last year, and they actually went next door and they taught. We had a first grade teacher that taught sixth grade math. We had a first grade teacher that went and taught fourth grade, and we had a third grade teacher that went in a fifth grade classroom. So we've expanded. And this shows the boy who harnessed the wind, and they did a story map in a fourth grade room. So our monthly STEM challenges, we started the year of COVID. We wanted to do all the STEM, but we had all those restrictions. This brought in a ton of family engagement. Like when we brought in our judges, one of the questions that they've said, like, we can tell that parents have really worked on this. Like, do you want to give, like, is this going to be the winner, or this project right here that's all been, like, you can tell the student has done all of it. And we just leave it up to them because we want that family engagement. We don't want the student to have to do everything by themselves, because the purpose of it was for the family engagement. So we see projects on every different scale that have come in. But it doesn't require any additional work from our teachers, so that is huge. And then our kids are excited.
Are the winners celebrated in that special way? Like, do they get announcements?
Yeah, so we announce our winners over the intercom. We post them on our social media. This year we have like a tiered system. So Dr. Ballew actually makes buttons, like hand makes buttons, and they get buttons every project they do.
But we also have a great community partnership, and so we have many, many restaurants around us that donate like a free Frosty or a kid's meal at Don Marco's, or they always win something of value.
So this is an example of one of the flyers that we send home. So this year at Christmas time we did a light show. And so this was the flyer that was sent home. So it just gives them some different material suggestions that they can use. And then we just give them some step-by-step directions. And then we have a rubric. When we first started out, we didn't have a rubric, and we quickly realized, like, we are going to have to make a rubric to help us judge this. And one thing that we're adding to our rubric next year is this paper sheet right here. So the kid will have to draw out their plan and then write about it. So if they don't turn this in, then next year they will not be able to qualify as a winner. And then we added standards. So we were sending these home, and we had a parent on our advisory team last year, and she's like, these projects are great that my kids are doing, but how does it relate? So are we just making crafts at home, or how does it relate? She wanted to know how it related. So we added standards in for each grade level this year, and then have a focus question that goes with it. This was a video of our light show.
We can tell them about it real quick.
Yeah.
So, well, go ahead.
So our students had to create something that lit up. And we displayed those at a drive-by light show that the parents, like, it was a donation when they came through. So on one side, the parents could drive through, and it was all the student projects. And then on the other side, it was teacher projects. So we were given a theme, and the teachers had to create something that lit up.
Yeah, and so the parents, this one isn't working anymore. So the parents could actually come through in like a Christmas light show. They could tune their AM radio, and so all that kind of, and so it like would blow up. You know, some of your houses do that and stuff. So we just took it on a grander scale and then added student projects to it too. So anytime, by the way, great tip, anytime the parents can see what their kids are doing and something they can be proud of, and stop 200 people behind them for traffic so they can take a picture of it, that's winning, right?
So here's just some data that we've collected this year on our monthly STEM challenges. So you can see, like, we start off pretty strong, and then throughout the year, like, we trickle down. But we still had a big participation. So our highest month was 208 in October.
And so we have 562 students, and so just so you can get the ratios there. Yep, and this is pre-K through 3, and they do everything at home and then bring it in.
And it's not the same kids participating each time either. I mean, we do have some that have participated in every project, but then we have some that have participated in just one. So here's another way that we do highlight those winners that you all were asking about. So we had a parent who owns a hotel, and he donated all of his TVs when he upgraded his hotel. And so we display our students' pictures that have won, and just all the projects that have been turned in. So each month has a TV, and then those are normally on, and their work is displayed throughout the day.
So they'll stop their classmates and say, "Hey, Ellie, I just saw you on the TV." And they, like our kids, they really feel like they're on TV. It's pretty awesome.
And we didn't start here. Like, this was this year. Last year, we just took pictures of our students and posted them on the wall, but this was added this year. So our STEM spotlights. We just wanted to recognize all of our teachers and all the good things that we're seeing around the school. So sometimes it's just something that we see. Sometimes it's by word of mouth and just hearing it. So if we've asked them, like, if you see something awesome that's going on in your grade level, we can't always see it. So if you'll let us know, and then we just make a little spotlight. I think I have a picture of it. Like, here's an example. We just make a little Google slide and then post this and send it out just to highlight their hard work.
That's pretty much it, right?
Can you go back to the slide that had the numbers that participated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really just looking at the ideas for each one. Thank you.
Yeah.
And like that has our judges who like came in too. So like this side is the project we did, and then this is our community partner that came in and judged the challenge.
And most of them will bring something with them too. So like when Delta came in to judge the flying machines, they all got little wings from Delta and like a little name badge and stuff. So.
And the church that came in, they donated like water bottles for the kids.
Any questions? It's about time. Is it about time? Are we past time? Guys, thank you all so much for coming out. Appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.